Hey guys, it's Matt from Whiplash here, and I'm just here to talk a little bit about the changes to Whiplash this season and how our fight with Sawblaze went on the first episode. So this season there are quite a few changes to Whiplash. Some of them are kind of obvious, some of them not so obvious. But I'd say one of the main improvements we made was the tires. So in previous years we've run foam-filled Carefree tires, which people like them because they're cheap, they're light, they have somewhat decent traction, but at the end of the day, they're just way too fragile. And like we'd get hit by a spinner, like one hit, barely touched, and it'd be gone. And we'd be down a tire, down two tires, sometimes down three. And we can't have that in BattleBots. So this season we were running fully vulcanized rubber tires from Team Warrior in Brazil with Black Dragon. So we sent them our designs, and then they made the tire, sent them back to us. They're awesome. They seem to be indestructible. I mean, even in our first fight with Sawblaze, he hit the tire, really nothing happened, just, a little cut in it, and that was about it. So other than that, one of the more noticeable improvements is the disc is a bit bigger than last season. So last season and the season before, we ran a 11.5-inch diameter disc that was 2 inches thick of a AR500. And this season we are running a 1-inch thick, 14-inch diameter disc. So, this allows us to have a higher tip speed, a little bit more inertia. I think it looks cooler overall. And it also allows us to have a bigger tooth on the disc. So last season our tooth had about, 1 inch of bite. This season we have 2 inches of bite, which I think should be, give us a more of an ability to damage our opponents, which will be nice. So we have the wheels, the disc, and I think probably one of the most important changes this season is we have a lot of different configurations for different opponents. So, we have, like, when we fought Sawblaze, that was actually our attachment that's meant to fight against Huge. It's, the two tall front flat plates that were meant to kind of, reject Jameson's attacks like that if he was to attack us from the front and, or like block Huge's spinner. We had that one. We have one attachment similar to the fronts from last season, which are just two hinged, just front plates on the front that kind of ride flat on the floor. So that's mostly for fighting like lifter robots and opponents similar to our own robot. And another attachment is we have two flat forks that ride on the floor that are hinged. So that's to fight the ground scrapers, the really low robots that we need to get under to win the fight. And then I think probably the most important attachment we have this season is our horizontal spinner attachment. So the previous 2 seasons, we ended up losing the Tombstone, which, Tombstone's, a great robot, but at the same time, you need to be able to handle horizontal spinners to win BattleBots. So those two, 10-pound front plates were not cutting it to fight horizontal spinners. So this season, instead of 20 pounds of front armor, we have a 45-pound plow that goes on the front. So when we use this configuration, we remove the disc, we put all that weight into the front armor, and the plan is just to be able to plow into any horizontal spinner and take whatever hits they can give us and just do our thing. But hopefully we get to fight a horizontal spinner this season, and you guys get to see it, because that was probably the configuration I was most excited to try out. But I'd say those are the main improvements to Whiplash this season. There are some, internal improvements, but it's basically the same inside as it was the last 2 seasons, or I'd say the last season in 2019. So as far as the fight with Sawblaze goes, you guys wanted to know exactly what happened, what he hit that knocked us out and caused us to stop moving at the end of that fight. So what ended up happening was he, got us pinned on the wall. He spun up his weapon, brought it down, and he came down right on our on-off switch for the drive, on the Waiachi switch. So when he hit that switch, it just got completely just decimated. We had no power to the drive. That was it. We were done for that match. But going into the Sawblaze fight, I think the mistake we made was we planned too defensively, and we didn't really think about how we were going to attack Sawblaze and how we were going to be offensive. Because like you saw in the the very beginning of the fight, we got like one little hit. Then after that, he was just underneath us, pushing us in the wall, pushing us around, controlling us. Got a few good hits in the beginning. And, once that started happening, I kind of had to go into panic mode. And so I was just running away from him thinking, like, what can we do to, inflict some damage on him. Obviously, the strategy we went in with was not working. So what that ended up being was driving backwards and hitting him with our disc from behind. So, that worked a couple times, got a good hit here and there on him. But at the end of the day, it's like we were really just improvising, and he was going about his strategy like beautifully, and he was doing everything he went into the fight and wanted to do. So, that was a well-deserved win for him. And, I think we learned a lot from it. And, moving forward, we definitely took into consideration that we need to think offensively. We need to think, like, what do we need to do to make our robot effective against this robot? Not necessarily protect ourselves from them, but to make our robot effective against them. So, I think that was the biggest lesson from this fight for us.